Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Pointy Not Sharp. Today we're taking a look at something that's not a bayonet. This is a Polish Wz55 Assault Knife. As per a lot of the requests in the comment section of my videos, I've decided to start doing a few fighting knife videos. Now, this one here is made by Radom in Poland between 1955 and 1957. And it's not clear just exactly how many were made. It's estimated based on the serial numbers that maybe 140,000, but that doesn't match up with the number of people they would have been issued to. It would have been significantly less than that. So it's not entirely clear how many of these were made, but they are really, really nice. And some of you might recognize the blade profile from an older knife. Now, these were only intended as a fighting or a combat knife. They're very lightweight. They bend very easy. They're not particularly strong. They're not made for survival. They're not made for being used as a tool or a hammer. This is just an incredibly lightweight, very, very sharp knife made to pierce straight through skin and inflict nasty, nasty injuries. And really, it's only designed to be held in a certain way and thrust in a certain way as well. Now, they're primarily used by Polish special forces, so they're commando paratroopers, or these guys, however you pronounce that. I don't want to do it wrong, as well as recon soldiers, special police, and special border guards. So anyone who's sort of in that special forces kind of world generally got one of these, and you still see them every now and then in service today, but it's believed they're all private purchase. Probably, more of the cool factor than anything else. Now, they're based off of the Soviet World War II NR40 recon knife, if you've seen those. And you'll notice the sort of the S on the crossguard. That is very much by design, and that sort of goes hand in hand with how it's designed to be held. So the blade is designed to be held in this kind of grip here, with, I'll turn it so you can see, this part of the S wrapping around your pinky, and this part flared down to accommodate the bottom of the palm of your hand. So you'll notice that the blade is pointing downwards and rearwards. In the West, we like to hold our knives like this, but that's how the Soviets used to do it. And the whole idea behind the NR40 recon knife that the Soviets used was it was designed to sneak up behind someone, stab them into the neck, and then down into the rib cage to pierce vital organs. That's pretty much all this knife was designed for. It wasn't designed for anything else, and based on the type of people that Poland were issuing it to, I imagine the doctrine would have been very much the same. Now we'll jump into the construction. You'll notice we have a clip point tip on the blade here, and then just a single edge, no false edge. It's got a very, very thin spine. This is an incredibly light knife. From memory, I think it weighs something like 150 grams. It's probably one of the lightest ones that I've come across. Moving down, we have a leather piece here. I don't know what you'd call that. And that just sort of protects it as it's placed into the scabbard. Doesn't want to go in today. Very tight fit scabbard, and then these hilt straps are rubbish. So getting it out is not too bad, but getting it back in is a pain in the ass. Now, it is quite difficult to find these with the original leather straps. I've come across a couple of these now. Not a couple, probably two or three. And this is the only one I've seen with that leather strap still intact. Then previously described, we have our S-bend crossguard. And then moving down to the handle. The handle is incredibly light. Like, that is not a hard, dark wood. That is... When I did the unboxing video for this, I commented that it almost felt like cork. And it's in that world of lightness. It's very, very light. It'd have a tiny tang. Now, as you can see, it's retained by two large rivets, and our rivets have a lacquer placed over them. It looks like varnish. Initially, I thought that maybe someone had varnished the handle in an effort to make it look better. Bubba goes hands on it. But that appears to not be the case. It's lacquer placed on the rivets to prevent oxidization or to prevent corrosion. And that's a common theme with this knife. So while it's actually in the scabbard, you don't have to worry about the blade, and that's why it's left in the white, but everything else has a form of corrosion protection on it. Now you'll see we have our metal band here, and then our metal pommel down the base. They're both the same. They've got a very heavy blue on them, and they are incredibly light, like to the point where they're probably hollow. And then you can see down here, the tang is very, very narrow and terminates in the end of the pommel. This one here, you can still see the remnants of it, but it has a little bit of black paint on it. So initially, that tang termination down the bottom there would have been painted over in black, again to prevent oxidization and, well, rust, corrosion. So that's the knife itself. It's very simple, but I don't think I've done enough to explain just how light this knife is. It feels like a toy. It's like a scalpel. It's razor sharp, but super, super light and super flimsy. This is not a tool that's going to hold up as a field knife. This is pure and simply cutting someone's jugular. This is a very lightweight tool for operators who don't want to carry additional weight. Now, moving down to the scabbard. If you've seen my polished AK-47 bayonet video, you'll recognise this scabbard. They are one in the same. I don't know if they're interchangeable. This one looks like it's shorter. I don't have that bayonet anymore, so I can't check. But it's about the smallest you can possibly make a metal scabbard and the lightest. It's a single piece of stamped steel that's just been, welded together into a scabbard. Now, it's got a leaf spring inside retaining the blade, and apparently you can get it out by pressing this button. So it looks like a rivet. Apparently it's a button. If you depress it, and yeah, it does, you can actually slide the leaf spring out. I'm not going to try and do that because, knowing me, I will break it. Then, the same as our polished AK-47 bayonet, we have the same frog. So it's just a strip of leather that's been stapled on essentially, and has a very small and simple hilt strap, handle strap. Now these are often advertised as paratrooper knives, and while they're used by their commando paratroopers, whatever their names were, I'm not going to try and pronounce it, I don't want to do them a disservice. They weren't exclusively used by them. It's more of a special operations kind of knife in general. So it's not really correct to call them a paratrooper knife. So I'll probably stick with the official term being the Polish Assault Knife Wz55. I don't know what WZ stands for. I assume it's a Polish abbreviation for model or something like that. But that's just a guess. Now finally, we will touch on the markings. And this has some really, really cool markings that I like quite a lot. So first off, we have our Circle 11, which is our Polish manufacturer mark for Radom, who's a very prominent arms manufacturer in Poland. They make a number of firearms and things for the Polish government. And then below that we have a 1956 stamp. So that's the year of manufacture. So you can come across 3 different years of manufacture: 55, 56, and 57. So 55 are less common than 56. 56 is when nearly all of them were made. And then the last couple were made in 1957. And the 57s are by far the least common. And that leads us into our serial number. That's on the reverse. I can't get this to focus, so I'll put a photo up. And I'll just pull it off camera for a sec so I can see it. That's right. So we have a whole bunch of different serial number ranges. The first, I believe, was 0 to 20,000, and that did not have a letter prefix, and that's 1955. And then your A to M, pretty much everything except for Z, is 1956, and Z is your 1957 production. So unfortunately, I don't have a matching serial number here. My scabbard has an A prefix and my blade has an M prefix. So not the best, but I'll take it. Then after that, we've also got a inspection mark. So, or inspection or proof mark, whatever you want to call it. It's just here where my thumb is. And I can't quite make it out what it is. It appears to be a diamond with something inside of it. but it's only sort of half stamped, so only half of it is visible. And finally, something that we don't have on this one here, unfortunately, every now and then one of these pops up with a stamp on the crossguard facing upwards. I don't know which side, I can't remember. That's usually a unit marking or like an ownership marking by a specific unit. So I don't know which units did this, if it was their commando paratroopers, their recon, their border guard, police, who knows. But that's a marking you do come across. Now, there isn't a whole lot of information on these available in English. There's a couple of reference books in Russian which mention these, but I can't get my hands on the books, and I don't speak Russian, and I can't find anyone who has a copy of the book who can tell me what's in it. So if you have a copy of the book, you speak Russian, and you're willing to share, please feel free to comment below. I would love to hear from you. But this is a really, really cool little knife. Being an ex-paratrooper myself, I had to get it. Anything that has paratrooper in the name, even if it's incorrect, is just insanely cool for me. Yeah, no, I really, really like it, and I can't tell you how light and handy this thing is. This thing is like, it weighs nothing. So I believe the scabbard weighs 100 grams and the actual blade weighs 150. So extremely lightweight. Now guys, if I've made any mistakes or anything like that, or you have any additional information, please comment below. I'm sure we would all love to hear from you. And if you've made it this far, please feel free to like and subscribe, because I've got plenty more interesting videos coming up. This is the first sort of fighting knife I've covered in this sort of series, but I've got quite a few more coming. So if you don't want to miss out, hit that subscribe button and hit the bell and you won't miss out. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.